Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pima Voices. My name is Savannah, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm sitting down with Emily Halvorson-Otts, and she is Pima Community College's Acting Vice Provost of Academic Affairs. And today, we'll be exploring the power of partnerships and persistence in STEM education. How are you today, Emily?
I'm well. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you. I know I see you all the time at events that we hold with the foundation and the college. And it's always like, oh, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
But we've never had a chance to really sit down and talk about your role at the college, what you do. And I know you're working on your dissertation and everything right now. So there's a lot of fun stuff and just STEM in general that I don't really know what's going on at the college. So I'm sure other people don't know that you can bring a lot of life to and educate us on. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say today.
Well, I'm excited as well.
All right, perfect. Well, go ahead and give us a little bit background about yourself and then your title, because I know your title's changed a couple times.
A few.
And so go ahead and tell us, who is Emily and what does your role of acting vice provost of academic affairs?
Yeah. So I have been with the college well over 20 years. And I started as an adjunct and helped open up the Northwest campus as a lab staff member, and then got my dream job of teaching. So I taught chemistry for over 10 years. And then when the college reorged in 2016, I really had a calling to then step into leadership. So I applied for and became the Dean of Sciences, which I served in for over 10 years as well. Oh. And that's where a lot of the STEM work that we're going to talk about it comes from, is that role, as well as just my own experiences within the STEM fields. And then the chancellor in fall of 2024 asked me to step into the acting vice provost of academic access to help with dual enrollment, and because of the way we were leading in that space in sciences. And now I'm in the acting vice provost of academic affairs. So a slight twist where I now oversee all of the deans. That's an easy way to summarize my job, is that all of the academic deans report up to me. And so I'm responsible for anything that happens within academic affairs under our new provost, Dr. Ian Rourke, who oversees both academic affairs and workforce. And so I've had this opportunity to partner with workforce through this new job. And some of the responsibilities that I'm also involved with right now are, if you look at the chancellor's goals and specifically the cabinet goals under workforce and, academic affairs and workforce, I've been helping with some student success initiatives around, for example, our 8-week initiative, where we're planning on working on transferring 100% of our courses from 16-week into 8-week modality or term, as well as 100% of our 14-week into that 8-week term. And the goal is to get 80% of those 16-week courses into that term by 2027. So there's a lot involved with that initiative. So that's one of the initiatives. We're also working on how do we help improve our own student success rates. For example, our new to Pima students, first time at Pima, 1 in 5 of them have absolutely no success in any of their classes. So that's heartbreaking when you hear those numbers. So what can we do within academic affairs to really create metrics that help us identify them earlier? So that's one of several different things I'm currently working on as the acting vice provost of academic affairs.
I was going to say one of the many things. It sounds
one of the many things, yes.
But all great things and things that can lead to really good retention, obviously, and keeping students going and succeeding through their classes, graduating or transferring. And I know one of the things that you worked on and that is part of your dissertation is the whole talk about STEM, is the Pima Community College to University of Arizona STEM Bridge program, which I also know we hold a program at the foundation for funding for that as well. And so that one's really interesting because it talks about STEM jobs in general, right, which is science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And it talks a little bit, I was reading up on it, trying to understand it a little bit more in that program and how STEM jobs I thought was interesting how the statistic wise, it was saying like white Americans has 69%, it makes up 69% of STEM jobs, excuse me. Asian or Asian American, 13%, Hispanic descent, 7, African American, 9%, and females anywhere between 14 to 47%. And so having the Pima to UAZ STEM Bridge program helps bridge obviously that gap of those lower income students who might need help and or assistance in continuing their education and transferring and graduating. And so you're the perfect person to talk about that, because that is something I feel like you're passionate about, especially with your background in chemistry and everything. And so do you want to talk a little bit about that as well today?
Oh, yeah. That is a topic I could talk about for hours, and I recognize we do not have that much time. So where exactly would you like me to start?
Maybe like, how did that come about, right? Like, because obviously there's a lot of programs that we want to have that really great success rate and retention with students. And so what brought about bringing that whole program together for these students?
Yeah. So when I first became dean, some individuals at the U of A came and introduced themselves and said, we want to partner with you. And we recognized that from the data that they were collecting and just nationally, students in STEM from community colleges do not typically transfer at high rates. Currently, Pima's transfer rate is around 30%, and for STEM, it's even less. And then when you start to look at graduation rates, it's even lower. Oftentimes, it's 14% of the students are graduating with a STEM degree within the traditional time period. And granted, traditional time periods no longer really exist, right? And the U of A had also captured data saying our students were lost. They didn't know where to get resources. They were struggling. They didn't feel a sense of belonging at the University of Arizona. And so I always talked about how we needed to work on doing a cultural bridge between our two institutions. How do we help this population who are passionate and love STEM, but they might struggle some? And because of STEM culture, that it tends to be, STEM culture is really about the norms and values and behaviors that are within STEM. And that tends to be very high rigor. If you don't succeed at your first time, you're going to fail and we're not going to allow you, or we don't think you're worthy is how I'm going to phrase it. And so we have this population that are passionate. They love it, but they can struggle at times. And I struggled at times with my own science courses. And so we need to help them, give them that helping hand. So anyway, what we did was the U of A came and said, let's start talking about this. And so we were looking at the data and we wanted to partner. And so we developed the grant. It's an NSF STEM. The S stands for scholarship in front of STEM. And we actually had to submit 3 different times before we got it. Yes. And that's not uncommon to have to submit multiple times. NSF grants are highly competitive grants. And but it's because of the U of A wanting to partner with us and helping to support our STEM students, recognizing that just like those metrics you spoke about, we need to add to the diversity of the STEM workforce, and transfer is workforce. And if we do not support these students, we're not helping STEM research. We're not helping support the outcomes that we can have in terms of addressing those wicked problems that we currently have in the world.
And it seems like it's not even necessarily just that students aren't passionate about what they do. It's rather just the resources that they have available to them. And so in this whole like bridge program, what does the funding go towards to help these students succeed and give them the resources that they need?
The program is really thoughtful about the resources that it's giving to the students. So as I mentioned, the S in STEM for the STEM Bridge grant was to provide scholarship money. And so the goal was to have students not have to work. As we know, around 70% of our students are working part-time students, and we wanted them to be able to focus on their academics so that they could really work on understanding the content and excel as they continued on in their STEM journey. And it helped pay for everything from their, their personal computers to their tuition to housing and food. And we heard continually over and over and over again from the 90 some students that went through the program that they could not have succeeded at Pima and continued on in their journey at the University of Arizona without these resources and scholarship funding. And so that's a core component of the grant. In addition to that, we also had resources that involved academic advising at Pima and academic advising at the U of A. And we also had faculty mentors both at Pima and at U of A. And the faculty mentors also went through what's called culturally responsive mentoring training to help support our very diverse population at Pima. And that's actually the extension of where my dissertation comes in, is on that faculty training.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to ask about the mentoring as well. It's like, obviously the scholarships are a big deal. Sometimes it can be really hard to fund your education, keep going, which is probably another big reason why students don't continue on and graduate, is because they don't have the means to fund that education process. But I feel like the mentoring part is also really great because you have those people who can help guide you, because you said it's a very rigorous, like STEM in general can be a very rigorous, tough environment. And so having these peer or these faculty mentors help guide you, I feel like would be very helpful and very successful to help give you the advice that you need to help, I'm sure there's other questions that students may have. And so how important do you think that mentoring, that faculty mentor was or is to the students?
It was absolutely vital to them. So besides the fact that they spoke about the resources, there were other aspects that they talked about frequently in terms of the grant and how it helped them continue. And it was that faculty mentoring. It was knowing that they had someone that they could ask questions of, someone they trusted, someone that could give them the advice that they needed. It was something that they just really craved, and knowing that they weren't on their own, and then really helping, like, hey, I'm struggling with something at the U of A. I have a professor that I'm not comfortable with, or I cannot get the answers or the feedback and guidance I need. How do I go about doing this? And so they would keep in contact with the faculty mentors at the U of A. And what I will say is, after they transferred, many of them spoke about how much they wanted to keep their Pima mentors.
Aww.
And yes, and the feedback that we received about Pima was glowing from these students about how supportive Pima is in general, the resources that we do provide, and how we really care about those students. And that came through the research over and over and over again.
Oh, I love that, because I feel like one of the great things about Pima is like the community and the faculty and the instructors and everything. And so we always find that there's always someone who has a really great tie to the college. And a lot of times these faculty, they were a student themselves at Pima and they've come back. And I feel like that really helps tie in that passion to help those students, because they were here in these hallways at some point, and then they have this like love for the community at Pima. And then that ties into also the passion and love for wanting to see these students succeed. And that's one of my favorite things about most people that I interact here on every campus and in administration, is everyone just has such a great passion for not just the college, but for the students themselves and even for their peers. And so that's something that's always, I feel like, is a really great message that we have. And you said that is backed by what the students have said.
Yeah. The students affirmed it.
Yeah.
And I think it became even more revealing to them when they transferred to the U of A about how much they appreciated the network that they had at Pima, and how everyone just cared for them as individuals and really wanted to support them, and that they weren't just a number in these large classes at the U of A. And people knew them by name, right? And that's one of the things that I love working about a community college is I'm passionate about the mission of the community colleges and helping this very special population of diverse students who just, they are passionate. They want to be better themselves, and they need a helping hand sometimes and some guidance, and their resilience. That's the other thing we found continually. There were absolutely lots of grit, lots of resilience, and I just love being able to help support this population of learners.
Yeah, and it's not like the U of A or university is not great at any level. It's just
Correct.
sometimes people just aren't ready for that
Yeah.
environment. It's different.
Correct.
It's scary. Like I know when I took classes at the U of A, I was like, oh, this is like a lot different than I had
Yeah.
expected. And sometimes it can be a little off-putting, or it can kind of put you out of your comfort zone. So I can see how having those faculty mentors help guide you through that and answer those questions in those intimidating situations can be very helpful.
Yeah. Well, and over 60% of our students are first generation that went through the program.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was not a first generation student. And so I'm going to speak on from what I've heard from other individuals speak about being first generation, right? And you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not comfortable being able to go to somebody and ask those questions, you can very easily get lost in systems and large universities. And that's one of the benefit of Pima is the number of first generation students that we are serving, as well as our racial and ethnic minorities, who often that is the same population, although they not necessarily, right? And we also had a lot of veteran students in the program, or returning students and single parents, and they all have a life journey.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just need someone to give you some really good advice.
Yeah. We can all use that, right?
Correct.
Every day.
Correct. We all need that.
Sometimes we just need some really good advice. And I know the grant ended for this, correct? But does the bridge program still exist, right?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We are still working on trying to institutionalize various aspects of it. So, for example, we had the STU 210 transfer program was a cohort model, and we have talked about how we could cohort it still for specific disciplines. And through various other grants and activities and the Center of Excellence, we're working on expanding the culturally responsive mentoring or pedagogy for faculty within the sciences and division. And so there's various aspects of it that, like I said, are embedded throughout other projects.
Okay, yeah.
And so as I said, I'm in the acting role of the Vice Provost. And so the acting Dean of Sciences, Dr. Chris Cabello, he has some projects that are continuing some of this work. And we did get a small amount of money to allow for some of the students to receive the scholarship funding for a pseudo continuation, I'll say, of the grant. And it's mostly some scholarship money. And the foundation has worked and partnered with us to set up some funds or scholarships funds where individuals can donate to help support our STEM students continuing on in trying to expand this program even further.
And why do you think it's so important to have the community prospective donors, partnerships realize how important it is to help fund education in STEM? I feel like we don't always hear a lot about people wanting to fund and provide these scholarships for STEM necessarily, maybe more in specific categories, but STEM in general, I feel like I don't always hear a lot of things about, and just the Center of Excellence in Science and everything, you just don't really hear about it too much. So why would it be important to provide these funding to STEM education?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So you're more likely to hear about the technology, right?
Yes.
That's because the technology is our more CTE, career and technical education types of careers here at Pima. And so, but that is fundamental to STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, right?
Yes.
And sometimes they'll add in medicine on that acronym. And sometimes you'll even hear arts added, so it becomes STEAM.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
and so there's some natural integrations with all these areas. And I think you don't hear about it as often because sciences in general is a more transfer based programming,
Mhm.
at least here in Arizona. And as we haven't traditionally thought about transfer as workforce. And it's all about helping provide jobs to these students so that they can better educate or better serve their families, right? And lift themselves out of poverty. So I think it's that we just haven't done a good job about the messaging. And one of the things that I would say regarding why we need to be doing it is that these are the individuals who are going to be going into areas like quantum computing and AI and engineering that and scientific research. We just, how many years ago dealt with the COVID pandemic. And these are the students who are doing foundational scientific research to address these problems like global warming as well. And if we think about all of the big issues that we start worrying about that are plaguing some of us or plaguing the world, many of them are going to be addressed by STEM.
Mhm.
And so we just have to recognize that we're lifting our own students up out of poverty. We're helping our community. We're bettering our community. And we're really supporting those big problems.
Yeah, and in turn, that they're supporting us as individuals, in turn, supporting our own
Correct.
families,
Yeah.
our own journey on this world and our life. And essentially, just they're the ones who are going to progress the next generation and so forth,
Yes.
and on and
Yeah.
on and on.
Yeah.
So keep the world turning, right?
Keep the world turning. Exactly.
And unfortunately, we're running out of time. And I feel like this conversation can just keep going and going and going. There's so much to talk about. Maybe we'll have to have a part 2 or something. But
That would be great.
was there anything else before we end today that you wanted to address or say in general about our topic of discussion today?
Yeah. What I would summarize is that one of the things that I'm most proud of is this grant
Mhm.
and the work that we did in terms of impacting these students' lives and how frequently they said they could not have continued on in their STEM journey. We had 97 or 98% of them transfer and stay in STEM.
Oh, wow.
And nationally, we're talking it's much less than 20% will transfer and stay within the STEM fields.
Mhm.
And around 90% of them are graduating or have graduated. Again, those statistics blow everything else out of the water.
Yeah.
And knowing the impact that I had on those students through this grant, even though I didn't always get to work with them directly,
Mhm.
it absolutely fills me with pride and just a passion for continuing the work and knowing that these students speak about how grateful they are for their opportunity to continue on in their journey.
Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
all of that. It sounds like it was very successful. It is successful. Like you said, those statistics that you have just blows every other statistic out of the water, which
Yeah.
has got to be something that y'all are really proud
Yeah.
of. And to see that success, and I hope that gets the stronghold to implement other things within the college as well. Like you said, talking with the Dean of Sciences and implementing some of this stuff into other programs would be so great. I mean, you have such great data to back everything of all the work that the team of people took to do it. And so congrats. That's
Thank you.
really amazing work that you guys
Thank you.
did. And yeah, they're students that are just going to thrive and change the world, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about helping our learners,
Yeah.
right?
And then, of course, I'll link those funds that we hold at the foundation that are in support of some of the STEM programs that are held at the college. And so that people can learn about them.
That would be
And
fabulous.
yes, and hopefully this discussion as well educated a little bit more people and educated me. And I've always been interested because like I said, I didn't always know so much about STEM. And like you said, you hear like a lot of the technology part, the T
Correct.
part, but you don't hear a lot of the other stuff. And so Yeah, like I said, maybe we'll have to have a part 2 because there's so much more to talk about.
There's a lot more to talk about.
Well, thank you so much
All
for
right.
coming in today. And like I said, I'll link all those funds that we hold at the foundation. And then if anyone has any questions, we can direct people to the right people. So thank you.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today, Savannah.
Thanks. And thank you everyone for tuning in today's episode. And I'll see y'all next week. Bye.